First, your brief assessment of the recollation and redeclaration.
In terms of assessment, so far we had 12 outstanding. We've been able to do 10 of them. No, we did 3 earlier and we were able to do 7 over the weekend. So I think in terms of candidate assessment, I would say all the processes have gone on very well. We are still left with 2 to go. We are very hopeful that we'll get it done way before the swearing in Parliament.
Way before the swearing in Parliament. Doc, are you able to tell us which part of the CI 127, the constitutional instrument you used for this year's general election, it was the same you used in 2020?
The same in 2020.
Where in that CI that permits the Electoral Commission to recollate results and redeclare winners of parliamentary elections after they've already been declared in the constituencies?
Okay, thank you. This is a very, very good question. Number one, the Constitution, Article 45, says that of all the institutions in Ghana, it's only the Electoral Commission of Ghana which is mandated to conduct and supervise. And when you are supervising the process, if the process doesn't go well, you raise issues and you address the processes. Apart from that, we have CI 127. CI 127 Regulation 43. It provides that when you are doing collation, each candidate is supposed to have 2 agents at the collation center. So anytime there are encroachers at the collation center, it undermines what the law says. Apart from Regulation 43, Regulation 48 also talks about even when agents are not present, the collation can still take place. And the 43 I mentioned, it provides some steps to be followed when you are doing the collation. So once those steps are not followed, and you have an instance whereby somebody is compelled against his or her will or under duress to declare somebody a winner, that is not acceptable as far as the commission is concerned.
So that is the word of the Electoral Commission saying that your officers there were under duress?
No, it's not the word of the Electoral Commission. It's the word of our officers.
Okay, but...
Our officers in those... For example, before you go, in Ablekuma North, we have 281 constituencies. And the direction we've given to our officers, you declare results with the 281 polling station results. 281 polling stations, including special voting at Ablekuma North. The first declaration was done with 219 polling stations.
We'll go into all of those details. You're saying that your officers, your
own officers
claimed that they were under duress.
You said they claimed.
Yes, that's what you're saying.
They said they were under duress.
So why didn't they go to court?
Why didn't they? No, they don't go to court. No, I think what some of you, the media, you are not understanding is this. The EC is mandated to conduct and supervise, to see to the conclusion of the process. So the EC must ensure that everything has been done properly. And when we are sure that everything has been done properly, if you are aggrieved, then you go to court.
Let's take it step by step, Doc. You still haven't answered the question of which part of the CI allows the Electoral Commission to recollate results of constituencies and to redeclare.
No, I think I mentioned, let me come back. I said CI 127, Regulation 43. It provides the framework for collation.
And I will read that to you.
Collation that does not follow that process is unacceptable.
I will read that to you. And I will read that very briefly. It says that after votes are cast and counted at the polling stations, the presiding officer submits the pink sheet, statement of poll and declaration of result form to constituency collation center. At the collation center, returning officer, i.e. the man who declared who becomes the winner, aggregate all polling station results from constituency verification result. The returning officer ensures figures from polling stations are corrected and tallied. But then it goes on to say...
The returning officer ensures what?
The returning officer ensures the figures from all polling stations
are
correctly tallied. Once verified and accepted, a returning officer completes the constituency collation form and declares result. Now, you declare the total number, valid, rejected, and all of that, after which, and there's a part of it where it says that when there is a problem or there's a contestation, the EC may recount at that instant. But it didn't say that after there has been, for instance, after you've passed that stage and you have declared the winner.
What you just read, you said the returning officer must put together all the polling station results.
But I'm arriving at a result. I'm just saying that after you have declared the winner. I didn't see anything in the CI that said that after declaration is done, you go back and say that because there were these previous challenges, we are going to redeclare winner.
Let me say this. We have officers, returning officers for each constituency. The same people who declared the results you are claiming they declared said no, that's not what transpired. And that at a gunpoint, at a knife point, I was compelled to declare a winner who didn't win.
Our cameras were there. I don't remember we reporting that they put knives and guns on the head.
Did you watch the declaration of Okankwe Central? Have you seen the footage?
I did.
Did you hear the officer saying I declared with 78%?
No, but
did you hear that?
I'm asking you a question specific to what you just said, which is the guns and the knives, and I'm saying that I don't recall our cameras recording that.
But usually in those
because that's what you're using to say under duress.
No, the point is under duress. Apart from that, but did you see the footage of Okankwe Central being declared?
Yes.
Did you hear the person saying I'm declaring with 78% of the polling station?
Yes, we know that in some constituencies they declare.
And we are saying all those are unlawful.
Okay, but what happened in Damango where one person died and where the current lands minister, Abu Jinapo, they declared without all the results?
Are you sure? Yes. Damango, they declared with all the results.
Not with all the polling stations.
Let me put this in perspective. In 2004, there was a similar incident in the Peru constituency. The then chairman of the Electoral Commission, the MPP candidate for Peru constituency was declared the winner. The information got to the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Aferijan, that the right person was not declared. The commission went to Sunyani, did a new collation, and the NDC candidate was declared the winner. In 2004, the same thing happened in Yapeku Sogo. Another thing happened at that time, Zabzugu and Tatale were one constituency. It happened over there. The NDC candidates were affected. It came to the attention of Dr. Aferijan. There was no declaration, but the wrongs were corrected. What the commission is saying clearly is that this CI 127, it provides a framework. If you don't follow that, it's unlawful. So anyone who is aggrieved, the commission will do the right thing. Once we do the right thing and you are unhappy with the right thing, you take legal action. But
the grievance you're talking about is what I just read, which is part of the 43 of this CI 127, where it says that when there's a contestation, at the time you're counting, putting it together, collating, and before you even announce, you, because of that contestation, you recount. But I did not see anywhere, and I'm just repeating that question, where it said that after you declared, and I just gave you the example, you're citing the example of constituencies which didn't have all the polling station results. And indeed, after the courts asked the Electoral Commission to go ahead, you had a press conference where Madame Jean Mensah herself said that the EC would not accept results where in areas where they even had 200 plus, they had just a little over 100, and yet they went ahead to declare. And I'm saying that in Abu Jinapo's constituency, Damongo, we had that happen. Also, in the issue of Techiman South, in 2020, during the parliamentary election, when the people had issues, NDC had issues with the result, you told them to go to court. So people are feeling that there's a double standard being played here by the Electoral Commission in this year's general election.
Let me put things in the right context. Techiman South in 2020, the report from our district officer, as well as the returning officers, was they had gone through the entire process required by CI 127. They went through the entire process. So when that report came to us, we said, once you've gone through the entire processes, anyone who has an issue with it must use the legal system, because the entire processes they've gone through without any problem. In 2024, they didn't go through the entire process. The same people who did the exercise, those alleged declarations, the same people who did it, those same people came to the commission and said, no, that's not what transpired.
So you don't see what happened in Techiman South and what is happening now as a double standard?
No, it's not double. Anyone who claims what happened in 2020 in Techiman South, what happened in 2024 in Techiman South? Or
I'm talking about 2020.
No,
where you told the aggrieved to go to court.
And what has happened? Are you referring to 2024 in Techiman South?
2024, you are not asking the aggrieved to go to court.
No,
after the elections have been declared.
No, they didn't declare. What was that? Was fraudulent declaration, and the commission there of all the institutions in Ghana, it's only the Electoral Commission that is mandated. Do you know, after they've done the declaration, they will also send a writ, what we call the writ of election, to the EC.
So you can gazette the results?
That rate will come before we can do the gazette. And the commission will not gazette anyone who, in our estimation, went through a fraudulent
You are just
process.
referring to your men who, and of course that's a fact that is out there, that there were certain constituencies that didn't have all the polling station figures.
And I think you mentioned that one.
Yes, so a second, those were your men. So you should be taking responsibility for your men being at a place they've been trained to do this. They know the CI, and yet they went ahead to declare.
In Okankwe North, Okankwe Central,
yes,
the declaration was done with 78%. And what you just read from the CI,
it
says all the polling stations. And you know, you also mentioned that, when the chairperson was doing the declaration of the presidential election, didn't you hear the chairperson saying that there were 9 outstanding constituencies?
But she justified it by saying even if they had added the results, they would not make any difference.
So the ones they did at Okankwe Central, Ablekumanov, Tema Central, they didn't make that point because it would have changed the outcome. And so that's the reason why we met on Saturday and we went through the process. So I think what maybe some people are not understanding is that commission is clothed with the powers, or let me put it, the authority to ensure that from the beginning to the end, all the right things are done. And that's just what we have done.
Was the NDC there during this recollation and redeclaration?
Oh, my colleagues who were there told me the NDC was there.
But
I saw some footages of NDC.
You're aware that they are still not happy with the recollation of the results?
I think, Beatrice, one of the things we must understand is that the Electoral Commission is a creation of the Constitution. There are clearly specified functions of the Electoral Commission, and we must perform those functions to the best of our ability to the letter.
And you think you've done that?
Oh, no, that's what we have done, and we are left with 2 to go. So the point is that whether someone is happy or someone is unhappy, that shouldn't be an issue. So that's why the law provides that if you are not satisfied with what the EC is doing, there is a way to go, but allow us to perform our functions.
And indeed, the Constitution says that, just like you told the NDC in 2020, when you're not happy, you go to court. And that court is the High Court.
That court is the High Court.
It's the High Court. In this case, after the NPP, the 6 parliamentary candidates filed their mandamus at the High Court, asking that the Electoral Commission is mandated to recollate, and also that the Inspector General of Police is also obliged to provide security. You remember that the NDC went with an injunction which was overthrown on Friday when the High Court eventually gave its verdict, as it were. What we also understand is that just after the High Court did that, the NDC filed a certiorari at the Supreme Court to quash the decision of the High Court. What we are being told by NDC executives is that the certiorari was served on the Electoral Commission. You received or acknowledged receipt of that. The police administration, that's what we are told. The police administration as well. Yet, irrespective of this Supreme Court certiorari, you still went ahead and did what you did on Saturday.
No,
how do you respond to that?
I don't know about this certiorari at the Supreme Court. I don't know anything about it. But what I want to say is that the Commission has been given clearly defined functions. And those clearly defined functions, what my understanding of the legal process is that if even you are going to take the issue to court over parliamentary or presidential election, what you do is that you must allow the process to come to an end. The processes have not come to an end. So, per the advice from our lawyers, what we did on Saturday was very, very much lawful as far as our laws are.
The lawyers, did it include the Attorney General?
The Attorney General is not our lawyer. We have our own.
Because the NDC is alleging.
Oh, no, I think that one is new.
That's the Attorney General. When you were contacted as to why you decided to go ahead, despite the certiorari, you said that the AG had advised you to put that aside.
Was even on Friday. So at what point would we contact the Attorney General? We have never contacted them. We don't do that. We have our own lawyers. We have our in-house and external counsels. We engage them. But the point I want to again put across is that what we have done is very, very much lawful. And Beatrice, you know, the Constitution is very clear and the CIs are very clear. We shouldn't encourage a situation whereby somebody has not won something. But because might is right in the era of power politics, then somebody will go there to a collation center. And I was giving you the example. It happened in 2004. In 4 constituencies, in Peru, then the Brown Ahafo region, The collation was done in the I think, is it Yeji or one of the secondary schools there. Supporters of the MPP hijacked the place. A winner was declared for the NDC. The Electoral Commission chair, Dr. Aforia Jain, got information that no, that person who was declared the winner wasn't the winner.
Doc,
so the right thing was done. A similar thing happened in, I think, Tolon, Yape Kusogo, and Zabzugu Tatali. The commission intervened, but for those ones, there were no declarations. So what we are doing now, what commission is saying is that you can't say because you are stronger than someone, the person has won, then you should be declared the winner.
Doc, you don't think that what the Electoral Commission has done in this year's general election is setting a bad precedent where perhaps in the future, assuming that the presidential candidate is declared winner, EC can then come back and say that we are sorry, there were ABCD reasons and therefore we are going back?
You know, Beatrice, that cannot happen because the presidential election is declared by the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. And before we declare, we get all the facts before we do. We only declare partially if what is outstanding will not make any changes to the outcome of the election. But for the parliamentary, didn't you hear political party supporters besiege the collation center? So when they besiege the collation centers, those places did not do proper collation. And what the commission is saying is that didn't you hear before the elections that all the parties were claiming that by 12 midnight, they would have gotten all the results from the polling station. So what we are doing now, these are results all the parties have. Commission doesn't know the winner of any of these outstanding ones. So what we are saying is that you have your pin sheet, bring all, let's put them together and get the winner. And I'm surprised that some people have issue with it when we need to ensure that truth is what must prevail in our society.
The founding member of CDD Ghana, Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh, thinks that what the Electoral Commission has done in this year's general election, you're only plunging the country into chaos. If it had not been the fact that there were individual or institutions that collated and they were able to declare the results, I mean, such as even the MPP itself, with the presidential candidate coming out just few hours after the elections to say that per our own data, we realized that we've lost the election, both at the presidential and the parliamentary level. H. Kwesi Prempeh thinks that if everything had been left to the EC alone, with what is happening currently, perhaps you could have plunged the country into chaos. How do you respond to that?
I think Professor Prempeh doesn't have a copy of our CI. If you have a copy of the CI, we don't operate like the way political parties operate. YEC doesn't get results from the polling stations. YEC only gets results from the constituency collation centers. We are not in a hurry like political parties. What political parties do is that even in the presidential election, they get all the polling station results and they put them together and they know who has won and who has lost. The YEC doesn't operate like that. The YEC has a clear procedure which is specified in our CI. And that procedure says that after the close of polls, the results at the polling stations will be sent to the constituency collation center. So at the constituency collation, they will be sent there physically. We don't do electronic transfer of the results from the polling station to the constituency. It's physically. So from that point, to get the presidential result, when they finish the constituency collation, the presidential results will now be sent to the regional office physically.
Doc, in this interview...
So the parliamentary one, so that is what we do. So if you know the law, and this was what was used in 2020, so if anyone turns around and says that, oh, then the parties know.
The argument Prof is making is the same question I tried to ask you about 3 times, which is that, yes, you talk about getting all the polling station results, which is clearly spelled out in the CI, but there is also the bit about having declared. There is no provision in the CI that says that after you've declared, you can then go back and redeclare.
Beatrice, the YEC is the one that begins and ends the process. The YEC.
So even after declaring, you can still go back.
After declaring, the YEC must do gazetting, and those are the information we use. The rich and everything. The same people you are claiming they declared, they are saying that these are not the persons, and that the evidence we have Look at Obuasi.
So why did they declare if they knew that wasn't?
The reason which
you said under duress.
You are pretending to accept.
It's not like
you are pretending.
You're saying under duress.
You know those things happen and you are pretending to accept.
You're saying.
Did you hear what happened at Thomas Central?
Yes, you're saying under duress.
What happened at Thomas Central?
We have seen, Doc. We have seen current videos, even of the recollation, where your officers still seemed visibly under pressure. You wouldn't call that under duress as well?
You've seen those two instances. What we are saying is that the commission doesn't care who becomes president. We don't care who becomes a member of parliament. What we care about is that our processes must follow.
Doc, you're not answering the question.
No, I'm coming to your question. Those people, didn't you hear the Tema Central guy saying that I will not do the declaration? Did you hear that one?
I heard that, but I'm just saying that
his family, his wife, the children had been threatened. So he thinks that he cannot do that again.
But you haven't answered the question directly.
Question about what?
That they were seen visibly, aside from the one who said that I'm not doing it again because of the threat.
Oh no, I didn't see that. We had our director there. I didn't see anything like that.
So in this interview, you said that your lawyers told you that you sought counsel.
I've not said I've never seen any sexual. I've never seen anything like that.
When I said that,
I'm saying that our lawyers have advised us that the processes we are doing is very, very lawful. So,
whether or not there was a certiorari, that's what you're saying.
You have just mentioned it.
Okay.
I've not seen anything.
Are you aware the NDC feels like they know that you were served and you still went ahead? They will cite you for contempt.
I don't know anything about that. You just mentioned it today.
The party says it might cite you for contempt. How do you react to that?
The nature of our work is such that going to court is part of the process. So if anyone wants to cite us, that's well within their right to do that. But I think the point must again be made that this is a democracy we are building. And we must be committed to ensuring that the right things are done. We shouldn't, whether media, civil society, encourage any situation whereby somebody has not won. Then the person will send supporters to the polling station or to the collation center just to influence the outcome of the process. If we do that as a commission, we are setting a very bad and a dangerous precedent for our democracy. We don't know what is going to happen in the near future. And as I gave you the example, it happened in 2004, the commission went in. Even in 96, it happened in the Fantiakwa constituency. The commission intervened and the wrongs were corrected. So the media must be supporting the commission. Because how do you declare parliamentary election results without 22% of the polling station results?
So from where you stand, or from where you sit, the commission has done a yeoman's job.
Everyone, that's why in a right-thinking society, this is not something we should disagree. In any right-thinking, well-functioning society, this is something nobody should disagree. That an institution is doing the right thing, which must be applauded by all. You want to begin your reign with on the foundation when somebody didn't win, then you are saying that the person has won. We can't do that in this country.
Doc, your final word.
Oh, my final word is I think the commission has done an excellent job in this election. For the first time, somebody conceded the presidential election.
But that wasn't your doing.
Oh, but the processes we put in place, if the processes were not that transparent and scientific, we wouldn't have gotten to that point. And the reports from observers as well as your good selves, an indication that, but these outstanding parliamentary constituencies which nearly rattled our democracy, I think everything went on excellently. We've engaged a lot of the observers from the African continent, AU, ECOWAS, Commonwealth, the International UN. All of them seem to be happy with the process, domestic observer, CODEO, and everyone. So,
I know that's your final word, but how do you respond to the claim or allegation from critics that perhaps you are in cahoot with the NPP to prevent the NDC from absolute majority in Parliament?
You can read my lips. The Commission doesn't care who becomes majority in Parliament. We don't care who becomes minority in Parliament. What we care about is that let's follow the law. Let's do the right things. Because if we want to become an effective society, a law-abiding society, let's make sure that anyone who wants to abuse our system is not allowed. And this one, we as citizens must rise up, regardless of whoever we support. We shouldn't support anyone who engage in abuse of the law. that one will not help us.
So you're not even bothered about the claims that if it had not been transparency or vigilance on the part of a lot of people, the EC might have helped to rig the election?
Oh. I know people say things to excite their base, but let's be very clear. It's the vigilance of the EC, the citizens, which has brought us to this point where parties themselves told themselves that, oh, by 12 May, I would have gotten the results from all the polling stations because of the measures the EC
but
has put in place.
The fact that people outside the Electoral Commission were able to collate and give their results in time, and it took the Electoral Commission so long to do that, you don't think that that's inefficiency on your part?
No, that's what I'm saying. When people are ignorant about a process, the way they comment about the process is different. The EC, this is a law passed by Parliament in 2020. So I think 2020 March, or this is a law from the Parliament of Ghana. And this law clearly specifies how EC will get results. This is something the parties are aware. All the party executives, I know they have copies. Media personnel, they have copies. And it specifies how EC must get results. We cannot get the results like the political party. We have several levels, from the polling station physically to the constituency collation center. Maybe the question you can ask is that, because of what has transpired, what is the EC going to do differently in 2028? But currently, until we change this law, our process is such that from the polling station to the constituency, physically to the constituency, there is no electronic.
I'm sure by now you've thought about that same question.
Yes, so those are that. So anyone who will, based on what has transpired, to say because of that, then you don't understand the process. So
from hindsight and moving away from this CI, what do you think would work better for the Electoral Commission?
The Commission will meet with its stakeholders. After every election, we meet with our stakeholders to look at what was done excellently, what can be improved moving forward, what are some. So we will discuss all that.
I want you to finish on your final word. I interrupted.
Now, in terms of final word, I was making the point that I think the EC again has risen to the occasion. But for the few 12 outstanding constituencies which nearly rattled our democracy, we've done an excellent job. And I think all Ghanaians must be proud of what we've been able to achieve. In terms of turnout, we're expecting more than what we have seen. But I think that ours is not a compulsory voting system. We are not like, think of Argentina, Australia, some of the countries that have compulsory voting. So we will go with the numbers that showed up. And we do expect that 2028 Commission will again rise to the occasion and put Ghana again on the map.
Thank you so much, Doc, for your time.
My pleasure.